Hi everyone, it's Rita. Welcome to my channel. So today we're gonna be doing a 3 looks 1 palette using the brand new Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. So this is the most beautiful bronzy palette that I think it's gonna be perfect for both the summer and the fall, especially for my liking. I love any kind of this kind of shades. They're my perfect kind of shades. So whenever I saw this, I was super excited and I knew I had to pick it up. But I have a full kind of like first impressions on this palette on my channel already. I will link it down below in case you're interested. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at these 3 new looks, and this one is gonna be the second one, just in case you're wondering. So anyway, let's just get right into the first eye look. I'm going to start with the shade Rich, which is the very kind of like pretty camel shade. So I'm just going to use this with a 210 blending brush by Fenty. And I'm just going to be blending this into my crease. I'm going to switch to a small crease brush by e.l.f. and I'm going to go to the shade Suntan. So this one up here on the very first row. And I'm going to start blending this into my crease, but a little bit lower than that shade that we first used. So same kind of like circular motions, and then I'm going to start getting into my crease in windshield wiper motions. I'm gonna go back to the same Fenty brush and I'm gonna go to the shade Rich, and I'm just going to kind of like blend out the edges of the eye. And then grabbing the same smaller brush and then applying a little bit more of the shade Suntan. And now I'm just going to run this exact same shade on my lower lashes. So the shade Suntan, I'm just gonna use a more precise blending brush. This one is by Eco Tools, and I'm just gonna go ahead and run this on my lower lashes and connect it to my upper part of my crease. And now with my finger, I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade True Bronze, so the one that's next to the first shade we used. And with my finger, I'm just going to run this all over my lid. And I'm gonna bring this same color also with my finger a little bit on my crease, but just barely touching the crease. Going back to that same crease brush that we used from e.l.f., I'm gonna go to the shade Suntan, the second shade we used, and I'm just going to darken up my outer V just a tiny bit more. And now with a smaller, very precise brush, I'm gonna use the shade Silk, and I'm going to use this to open up my inner corner. So I'm going to put this on my inner corner eye, and then I'm going to kind of like bring it up a little bit, kind of like closer to this area, just so the eye really opens up. And I'm going to run it down here on my lower lashes just a tiny bit. And to finish up, I'm just going to do a little bit of a fall wing line with the shade Deep Dive. So the darker on the palette, that's kind of like the more purpley undertone. So I'm going to go and use a Eco Tools brush, and I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm just going to run this very close to my lower lashes. I'm going to go ahead and wet the brush just so we can get a little bit more of intensity on the shade, especially to create like a fall line. I'm not gonna wing it or anything. I'm just gonna leave it as is, and I'm going to apply a ton of mascara, and I'm going to use a little bit of brown eyeliner on my waterline and on my tight line, just to make the eye just a little bit, you know, looking the lashes a little bit longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So look number 1 is all done. All I did was apply eyeliner. I did use a brown chocolate one, and then I applied lots of mascara, and here is the final look. So today for our second look, we're going to start with the shade Sundown. So I'm just going to grab a Japanese brush, and I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to start blending this into my crease, but I'm going to do it a little bit more like on the upper side of my crease. I'm gonna switch to a smaller blending brush. This one is just by e.l.f. called the Crease Brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Rhodium, so that kind of like more cooler tone purpley shade. And I'm going to start blending this into my outer V, and I'm going to bring it up to my crease as well. But I'm keeping this color very kind of like close to my crease, like not up as I did the first color. I'm gonna switch brushes, and I'm gonna go for a small, kind of like a smaller, more precise brush. And I'm going to try to kind of like not wing it out, but make a more precise line with this brush. Sort of like in a semi-wing line. I'm gonna go back to that first Japanese brush, and I'm gonna go back to the Sundown shade. So the very first one we used, I'm gonna tap off the excess, and I'm going to kind of like just blend out the edges a little bit. Now that those colors are kind of like very much blended into each other, I'm going to go for a smaller kind of like a pencil brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Deep Dive. So that's gonna be the darker shade in the palette, and I'm going to start kind of like winging that same area that we just did, but I'm gonna make it more precise with this shade. So with a wet brush, I'm going to go into the shade Palladium, and I'm just going to start placing this on all over my lid. And I'm trying to be very precise on my crease, so I don't want to put it too up on my crease, so I'm just gonna try to keep it as much as I can on my actual lid. I love how this shade has, it's like a kind of like a bronzy whenever you look at it, but of undertone, it kind of looks a little bit purple, so I think it pairs perfect with both of these purple shades. So now I'm just gonna go back to our very tiny e.l.f. brush, and I'm gonna go back to the shade Rhodium, the second one we used, and I'm going to kind of like just run this to my crease. And then again, I'm gonna go into the shade Sundown with the very first brush we used, so the Japanese, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the edges. And then back with the shade Palladium, I'm just gonna grab a little bit extra and then tap it on the lid. Since my wing kind of like started to fade, I'm gonna go back and just reapply a little bit, so the same brush, and again into the shade Deep Olive. So for my lower lashes, I'm just going to use the shade Sundown in a more precise, smaller brush, and I'm just going to run this on my lower lashes. And now I'm just going to use the same brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Rhodium again, and I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm just going to start placing this a little bit closer to my lash line. With the same brush, I'm just going to go back into the shade Deep Dive, the one we used for the little wing, and I'm just going to tap this on the very external part of my eye. I'm going to use a teeny tiny brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Alloy, and I'm going to just apply this on my inner corner. Okay, so I'm just going to go and apply lots of mascara, and then second final look, I just added lots of mascara and of course a very intense bright lip. I just wanted to do a statement lip, and what better than pairing this kind of like more purpley undertone shade with a very more purple lipstick. But anyway, here is the final look. For today, we're going to be doing our third eye look with the bronze palette. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and use a Makeup by Mario blending brush, and I'm going to go with the shade Beach, so the lighter in the palette, and I'm just going to start running this on my crease back and forth. I'm going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to kind of like start little by little and then kind of like just start intensifying the color. And I am blowing this on my crease just a little bit farther away. I want to go for a very everyday natural look with this palette. You can very easily go very smoky and dark, I feel, of course, with like a bronzy shade with pretty much any of this color. So today I just want to go very light and do something that I would actually go on like to work with, or just on a very simple makeup day, and I don't want it to be too smoky. So anyway, I'm just gonna be doing the same thing, just blending this into my crease. With that same brush, I'm just going to keep applying this, but now I'm just going to do it all over my lid. So pretty much just covering my lid with this first shade. So now that I have that color all blown out on my lid and on my crease, I'm gonna change to a smaller, more precise brush. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the shade Ridge. So kind of like the more camel tone shade. So this one right here. And I'm just going to apply this on my lower lashes. I always feel like I need to apply some kind of eyeshadow on my lower lashes, even if I'm going for a very simple look like I am today. I feel like I do need that little bit of shade on my lower lashes to just make the eye look be a little bit more complete. And it just, in my eyes, I just always need that shade there. So now, to literally finish up, I'm just going to grab the shade Alloy, so the one in the very middle of the palette, and I'm just going to apply this very slightly on my inner corners. So just a little bit of this shade, and it's just going to be my inner corner highlight. And I'm gonna bring it into my eye just a tiny bit, like both on my lid and on my lower lashes. So that's literally it for the eyeshadows. Very simple. Like I mentioned earlier, I just wanted something very perfect for my everyday, and this is something that I would realistically just use to go to the office whenever I do go back to work, and just like for an everyday easy look. But I do want to apply a brown wing line, just a tiny bit of a wing line, just to make this look even a bit more sophisticated. I feel like whenever you throw in a wing, everything just looks 100 times better. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my little wing with brown eyeliner, apply lots of mascara, some lipstick, and I'll be right back. We are back with the final look. So all I added was, of course, the mascara, the liner, and a lipstick. I actually mixed 2 lipsticks to create this look because I wanted a bit more of a very faint pink, so I did mix 2 of them. But anyway, this is the final look. I really love how it turned out. This is again something that I would definitely see myself wearing like on a day-to-day basis. The matte is just so beautiful and it's so easy to blend. It's just very, very smooth, and you can literally just put it all over your lid, blow it on your crease, and you have a beautiful look for your everyday. So that's just what I wanted to do today, something a little bit more simple. Not that my eye looks are ever too complicated, but you know, so something that's gonna be perfect, I feel like, for everyone on their everyday normal life. So here is the final look. Okay guys, so we've got those 3 eye looks. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna recreate any of this. If you got your palette, if you're thinking about purchasing, just let me know in the comments down below. I love to hear from you guys. And just like an overall kind of like thought on this palette. Personally, for me, it's just lacking a very light champagne shade. Like not vanilla, but like a very kind of like light gold champagne. I think it would have made the palette perfect. I love all of the colors. I love the shade range. I love how easy to blend all of them were, and the intensity of the shimmers. It's just a beautiful palette overall. But that's just the only tiny teeny complaint that I have. And it's not really a complaint, it's just something that I feel like if we had swapped one of the gold shades with a lighter champagne, it would have been perfect. Because I do feel like I didn't do it, of course, with, you know, this eye looks, but I do feel the need of grabbing like my highlight, like just my face highlighter, and apply that on my inner corner. Just because I don't like my inner corners to be too gold. I want them to be more champagne-y, lighter shade. But anyway, that's just my personal touch on this palette. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!